then, Derek, do you see a box that comes up asking you to allow it to be recorded?
I do.
Okay, thank you. Okay. All right. All right. So we're going to go back. Okay. Hi, Derek.
Hi, Dr. Donovan.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thanks for joining us in our first session for the reading workshop. So I'm going to record the session and just for instructional purposes. So that's why it's being recorded, but only me and my professors see it. Okay.
Sounds good.
So here's our plan for this evening. Our session is we're going to spend a little bit of time just chatting just about how things are going in your life. And then we're going to do a write-in just for a few minutes. So you'll need a notebook. Do you have a notebook with you?
I do.
And do you have something to write with?
I do.
Awesome. Okay. And then we're going to have a little conversation about reading and just what you want to get out of this session with us. And then we'll do a little celebration at the end and talk about what's next. Okay, that's our plan. So tell me, what were some things you were doing today?
Yeah. So I walked my dogs. It was awesome. Rode my bike for a little bit, got some homework done. Yeah, it was a pretty easy day overall.
Did you say dogs with an S?
Yeah. So I have three dogs. Yeah, a Great Pyrenees, a Golden Doodle, and a little Shih Tzu.
What are their names?
The Golden Doodle is Daisy, and then there's Duncan, which is the Great Pyrenees, and then Dake, which is the Shih Tzu.
Daisy, Duncan, and
Uh, Dake.
how do you
It's
spell
like
that?
Jake with a D, so
Oh,
Dake.
so like 3Ds.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
like
noticed
a
that your
family
first
thing.
name is also a D.
Yeah. It's
Is
been
there like
going
a
back
story there?
generations, so
Is there a story? Is everyone in your family named D? Has a D?
yeah. So like my cousins, my grandfather, my aunt that was married in. It's kind of funny.
I love it. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Yeah, today I um didn't do anything really special either. I mean, I do not have three dogs. I do not have any animals, but my sister does. She has two dogs, two golden retrievers, and one is in the pet posse here at OSU.
Oh, that's
His name
awesome.
is Bob.
I
His
love
name
that.
is Bob. Yeah. Yeah, we can invite Bob to come to class.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe I can invite Bob to come to our next session. You can see
I
Bob,
think
and then you can
that
bring your
would,
dogs.
yeah,
Bring your dogs into it. Okay. Okay. So as we get started tonight, I just want to make sure you have your camera on. That's awesome. So it's like I can see your whole face. We don't want it to be like this or like this because that's weird. And I told you recorded for instructional purposes, and then we have our notebooks, and you can also have like some water or snacks with you. I have my water, so feel free to like hydrate if you need to. So all of that's good. And joy in our heart, because like I don't know if your parents made you come or if you want to come, but since we're already here, we can like have some joy. I mean, why not, right?
yeah, might as
Okay.
well.
All right, so we're gonna start each week with a write-in. So that's why you want your notebook. And like I'd love for you to start writing in your notebook, and then maybe we can talk later about if we want to use our fingers to type. But there's a couple reasons why we want to use a paper notebook, because we want to see how our hands can make things, and we can also do some drawing sometimes. We can scratch things out. We can turn the page like long way or this way. And so we have lots of freedom when we're just using our hands, and nobody's checking your penmanship or spelling or anything like that. It's just to have a different place to write so that we don't have to be using our screen. So we have our screen open for our prompt, but then we can be looking at our notebook. So that's why we have that's why we're going to use our notebook. Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. So you have a couple choices. I'm really interested to hear what you would choose. And you're always going to have choices, because I think sometimes you want to choose what's interesting to you. Sometimes you might want to take a risk. Sometimes you might want to try a new genre, or sometimes you might want to just reject everything I suggest and just write about what's happening in your day. So here's a couple options. The first is a narrative, and you can tell the story of these two characters, maybe what they might be saying to each other, and you can try some dialogue or like a play form. The second is an argument. Should students in grades 6 through 12 be able to dress up at school for Halloween? Like, define the terms. What does dress up mean? On one hand, why would that be a good idea? On the other hand, why might it not be a good idea? And then where do you stand on that issue? And the last is word knowledge. So this word aloof means not friendly or forthcoming. And sometimes there's reasons why people are like that. So I wonder if you want to write a little bit about if you've ever been aloof, or if you've ever been around someone who's aloof, and how that kind of impacted your relationship. So any of those. Do any of these seem interesting to you?
Yeah, I think the argument one seems very interesting to me.
Okay. We're going to write for about 5 minutes, but if you feel like 3 minutes in, it's not really interesting to you anymore, just change topics and write about something else, or just use that time to draw or whatever, but try to keep your pencil going the whole time. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. So Derek, we're not going to do this because time is almost up for us. Okay. So then we would do a share out, and in this part, it's better for me to share first. Like I would maybe read the whole thing, or I'd read one part of it. But I want to go back to this slide again, because if you always want to encourage them to reject this, if they don't want to write about any of these, they could write about just their day or whatever they need the time for. So they might not like any of your suggestions, but just ask them to write about what's on their mind. That's fine too. So here you want to share first probably, and then when you're done sharing, you can ask them, well, what seemed interesting to you, or did you have a favorite line, or did you learn something new about me, to get them to respond. And then you ask them to read it as well. So there's kind of a reciprocity in that. And it's better as much as you can to get them to read it instead of to summarize it, because you want to hear about their writing. And then at the end, I would ask them to hold it up. Because we want to see what it looks like on their page, because that's really helpful for us if we have students who don't use the margins, or might have trouble writing, and that might be a sign they have dysgraphia, and that's something we need to think about and adapt in our next lesson. So we're trying to like gain a lot of evidence is when we're doing it. Yeah, there.
Do we want to try to ask them to take a picture of what they wrote, or just?
Well, if it's on the, yeah, I mean, you could do a screenshot, but it's on the video, that's okay too. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so this is not something I necessarily would tell the students, but I liked today, Peyton and Grace had a great slide that's like, here's our goal today. And it was just one sentence on the slide. I thought that was really great. They don't need to see this whole thing. But I needed to put this whole thing in here, and you do too. And it's helpful to do it maybe at the end after you've done everything else. So this was like the last thing that I did. So the conceptual question today is like, what techniques do authors use to create effects? This is related to the 3 texts I share, not the interview process. So there is a standard. There's always got to be one, because we're gathering information. So I want Derek to notice and identify the author techniques of whatever text he chooses. I want to hear what he thinks about that. And so this is the standard, 8th grade standard, and you'll choose the standard depending on the student, and they're always mostly going to be reading standards. But this is, students will determine the intended purpose of techniques used for rhetorical effects in written, oral, visual, digital, nonverbal, interactive text. So I'm going to show a poem, I'm going to show a blog, I'm going to show a video, and whatever Derek chooses, I'm going to ask him questions about what he thinks about the genre, So I have a couple of options for the poems that you'll see later. So I have a skinny poem, Ode to Silent Discos by me. Blog, What is Gimkit Creative? And a video letter, An Open Letter to Mom by the Little President Kid, the President Kid. And I'm going to use the big 3 question from Beers. So that's like a strategy I'm going to use in there. So you can kind of see how I filled this out. This is the most complicated part of it, because you just have to like know what you're doing. And that's the key, is that you can do all the cool strategies, but you know why you're doing them and what. And so this is the most difficult part, I think. Okay, so then here's the reader activity, which I don't know if maybe we'll do like 2 parts of it. Okay, we're gonna write again, Derek, so stay with me. Okay, so we want to get to know each other as humans and as readers. So this one, I'm gonna ask you to actually type with me, Derek. So I'm gonna
Okay.
change editing. Okay, and I'm gonna put it in the chat, a link to my slide deck. Okay, let me know if that works for you.
Got it.
Okay. So here, I'd like to learn a little bit more about you. That's going to help me like make these sessions like more interesting. And I'm going to also share some things about me, so you kind of know who you have to spend time with, and it's not so creepy. So you can go ahead and type in these boxes, and we can kind of do it at the same time. So I am from, and I'd like to hear like 3 character traits about you. So I am from, might sound strange, but I can't say no. And I am an introvert. Like I'm like energized in my brain, and I love people, but when I'm around people, it takes my energy away. So I have a hard time saying no to people, and yet I'm also an introvert, so it's kind of funny. Another character trait is, I guess I'm kind of quirky. I don't know. Okay. What are like 3 words that describe you?
So I'm going to put I am easy to take on too much.
Okay. Kind of like me, can't say no,
Yeah.
but different.
I'm definitely kind of an omnivert, depending on the situation.
Ooh, that's a great word.
We'll even spell check that though. Well, other than that, I'm kind of shy, kind of quiet.
Okay. Thanks. Good. And then 3 activities or hobbies that you have, or maybe even like an expertise. Kind of sounds to me like you might be a dog whisperer, but I am really good at making coffee, writing poetry, mm, 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 watching movies, I guess. I should say reading, but I mean, I like watching movies. Do you have hobbies?
Yeah, I would say shooting pool.
Ooh,
Cycling and fishing.
nice. Okay. What just happened?
How are we gonna learn about different?
What did I do?
This happened like earlier in the class as well. We don't know what happened.
Is it coming back?
It didn't come back earlier, but.
All right, this might happen, so hang on.
I feel like it's the HDMI cord connection for this computer. It's not great.
Okay, this happened. You know, this is a really good thing that it happened, because it does happen. So I'm gonna go onto my, I might have to, did it shut down? It didn't shut down, but there was hang on, dear. I'm coming. Okay, so I'm gonna join, so I have my backup.
Did we preface to tell them like if this happens, do not leave? Because they might just be like, oh, we're done. I'm done. Good talk.
No, because that would have been me.
No, I was like, well, I guess they don't want to talk to me.
Right, so there's like. Mm. Great, so I'm going to my Zoom. Mhm. Oh, boost will let me in, so now I think Derek has to let me in. Hey Derek, you can come back. Did they
Okay.
ask to let me in?
No.
The host has joined. We'll let them know you're here. Okay. Thanks, you were doing great. Okay. Oh yeah, I mean, it's. What did it look like on your end?
When that would happen,
Yeah.
I think everything would see, because that's just.
Right. Yeah, I'm still logged in. But this screen. Let's back up, okay. So that's what it looks like. So you can see like that does happen, and it could be on your end, it could be on their end, and so having a backup device or having the Zoom on your cell phone, like I'm so glad that happened because this does happen. So you can even preface it. I love that, Kaden, like at the beginning, if we go out, just hang tight. But you also have their numbers. So look on your reader profile documents. And you want to make sure if there's a place, do I have a place for the parent phone number?
Yes.
And the student may have one too, and you just get the parent permission to share that. Yes.
If something happens with Zoom, could you like FaceTime them and screen record that?
Yes, we've done that before because some people have Apple or something like, so having a different FaceTime or Google Meets, or like we've been brainstorming. So when you're all doing this, I'm like going from person to person to troubleshoot like different technology. That's always, it's very normal. And it might take a couple weeks for students to figure it out on their end, on your end, especially if they haven't done it before. Yeah,
Is this still through Overgrown?
no,
So,
it's a
do you
little bit
remember
more
what
stable.
happened with my student and how he had to get like a new router?
Yeah.
Is that gonna be an option for them again?
It's less likely that would be an issue because these people have participated before.
Gotcha.
So I know at the beginning you were talking to Derek, like, does it say, yes, allow this meeting? What if allow recording? What if our student like hits no, where it's like, I don't want to be recorded?
Oh, the parents already gave permission,
Okay,
or the families gave permission. They signed that when they registered them,
okay.
because it's part of instructional purposes.
So would we just have to be like, please say yes, your parents already
Yes.
said,
Yes.
okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So I know we're over time. I just want to show you a couple more things and we'll talk about it next week. But so the 3 different options are all going to be like under 3 minutes. It's going to be pretty short. So they can't be too long. I also, this one, if you're looking for poems, this thing has 140 different poem prompts. I actually have like 560 poem prompts if you're interested. And I just like when I have like a fun, I wrote a ode to this goes in skinny form. If you've ever never seen a skinny poem before, it's kind of fun to write that. I know that kids are interested in the skin kits and then also a video. So 3 different kinds, and then again we learn a lot from what the students choose and don't choose. and how they feel about it. And this is where the big three questions come in. So here's my ode to silent disco. I first ask, why did you choose this one? Like, what about this interested you? So if they chose the disco one. And then I read it or they read it. And then I write, what surprised you? Why or how? Those follow-up questions. What did the author assume you already knew? These are part of the big three questions. What makes you say so? What challenge, changed, or confirmed your thinking? These are part of the big three questions. What makes you say so? And then why did this author, which is me, choose this genre? You know, and what's unique about it? And talking a little bit about, would you like to read more about silent discos? Would you like to read more poetry? Do you want to read more cool forms? Or are you ready for something else? So we're assessing like their interests, why they chose this over something else. But they might not have chosen this, they might have chose the other one, but you want to have a series of questions that help you like after you're done reading it so that you can assess more information. And I have all three ready to go just in case. Celebrations, and then I made a little Jamboard and next time kind of thing. So all of your slides are like looking, oh, and then record keeping. I'll talk about record keeping next week because as soon as it's over, you have to do some notes and I'll show you how to use that next week. Okay. How are you feeling? Good? Kind of excited? Are you excited? Excited? Thank you, Derek, so much. All right, I think since we're over, we'll just go. Let's go home now. Thanks, everybody. That was pretty fun.
Thank you. Go team.
Good team.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Yeah. Let me rename that reader. If I called it reader profile, would that make sense?
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
So you need these back.
Yeah, give those back to me so I can shred them.
So we just, with the updated stuff.
Yeah, but that's just like a record. So if I. Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay, good, yeah.
I don't. Thank you, thanks, Maria.
Well, I'm not gonna forget. You're welcome.
Thank you.
No, I have to drive to my cousin's.
Oh, I forgot about that.
You're welcome.
Okay, good.
She's gonna take me. I'll see you guys on Thursday. Anyone else around? Yeah, Mark is right there over there. I love that. Mark is there. Okay. Hi, girl. Hi.